start. So good afternoon, children. Today we will be dealing with the defense system. Earlier chapter of political science, we dealt about the foreign policy, isn't it? So what did we do related to foreign policy? What was it related to foreign policy? Anybody? Foreign policy we dealt. So what foreign policy, what things did we learn about foreign policy? Anybody? Anybody? Yes? Okay, yes, Sohan.
Teacher, in the previous lesson, we were taught that how the foreign issues or international issues should be handled with the care, and the constitution of our India, how it is made, and the policies regarding the international matter is based in the constitution.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so when we are dealing with the different countries, we do face certain challenges. So like how you are fight with each other, you all have your own issues. Okay, you are fighting with your partners. Okay, you have enmity with different divisions over there. Same over here, India's neighbors, we have neighboring countries. We have Pakistan, we have China, Sri Lanka, we have, yes, other
Nepal,
Bhutan,
Bangladesh.
China, very correct. So we have, that is, we have disputes, we have conflicts with these different countries. And when we have conflicts, many a times we try to negotiate with it and try to solve it peacefully. But many a times it requires for us to use our armed forces. Okay. So let's first try to understand what does the national security means. Okay. And let us try to understand the need for security. So why does a country require security? Can you tell me why does a country require security? Quick, somebody, before we go, why do we need security? Why does India need security? Yes, somebody.
To protect us from enemies.
To protect ourselves from enemies. Anything else? What else? Yes.
For our safety.
For our safety, right? To live peacefully, to live happily, as well as to protect ourselves from the enemies. For this purpose, we need to secure our country, and for that, we need well-armed defense system. So let's try to understand what defense system is and why do we need the security.
Standard 9, Political Science, Chapter 3, India's Defense System. Introduction. Let's revise. In the last chapter, we studied India's foreign policy. We have now understood that the primary national interest of a country includes defense from foreign aggression and internal unrest and keeping the borders safe. For this, every nation creates a defense system at the national level. India has also created such a system. In this chapter, we are going to understand its nature and study the challenges it faces. What is national security? The international system is made up of sovereign nations. Even if they cooperate with each other, sometimes there are conflicts between these sovereign nations. There are disputes between nations over
So that is what we try to understand, that we deal with different countries, but still we have to face some of the other issues, whether it is related to water sharing or whether it is related to border. Even if you have, see, many of you all have your own agricultural land. Okay, many of them, that is, they have created their own border, but the neighboring people, the neighbors will try to encroach upon your area. So this happens even with the countries. So this is the most major necessity that we need to secure our own borders, and for that we need a well equipped defense system.
Please or sometimes conflicts emerge between them over water sharing. Some other reasons for conflict could be not following the terms of international treaties, constantly competing against each other, and influx of refugees from neighboring countries. Whenever such a
We
conflict
have many Bangladeshis refugees coming into our own country from the eastern part of India. Many of the Pakistanis trying to enter into these, they try to take, or they feel that we are more safer over here, and so they want to remain in our own country. So such refugees also come, which is again creating problems with
conflict
us.
of interests arise between nations, it is sought to be resolved by compromises and discussions. But when such efforts are not enough to resolve the conflict, a nation may even think of war. When a nation attacks another and challenges the sovereignty of the latter,
So if you see, when we try to compromise with the others, but many a times it's not possible. Certain things we disagree on certain things, issues. And then the last option remains is to go in for the war. So maximum we try to bring in peaceful negotiation.
it endangers the security of the nation. Such challenges are created due to the military power of aggressive nations. In any situation, a nation's first duty and responsibility is to keep the security systems always well prepared and ready. This is called as national security. Can you tell some examples of complementary and contradictory national interests in the context of India and our neighboring nations? Ways to safeguard national security. National security is closely connected with geography because national security is more likely to be endangered by nations who are geographically closer. A nation must assess the threat to its geographical boundaries and the source of that threat. In order to keep this threat at bay, the nation has to increase its military might. The nation has to use modern technology to predict the threat, to build weapon systems, and modernize and update the defense forces. Resolving conflict by
So we, as an India, which is a developing country, we need to have updated, scientifically developed armed forces as well as the weapons, and then only we will be able to protect ourselves. If you see the defense system, India's defense system consists of Army, Navy and the Air Force. Along with these three, Army, Navy and Air Force, we have the paramilitary forces. So let's try to see what's given information with given order.
taking recourse to war in order to safeguard national security brings internal peace into danger. Hence, some nations try to get the support of other nations to manage the threat to their national security. Think and suggest. All countries are not at par with respect to military might. In such a situation, what needs to be done to implement a policy of arms control?
What can be done if we don't have enough of well-equipped armed forces as well as weapons? What can we do? What can be done? If we do not have modern weapons, what can we do? What can we do? But we need, because we have a threat from China also. We have threat from Pakistan also. Okay. So if we do not have well-equipped weapons, what can we do? What can we do? Any suggestions? Yes, so
So, we should concentrate on buying weapons from other countries as well as to develop the weapons and by increasing our military might to safeguard the nation.
okay. Take the help, take the technological help from the developed countries and use our own resources and research people, scientists, researchers to improve our own technology in the weapons.
Do you agree? Nations enter into arms races with others in an effort to increase their military might. Arms race leads to further increase the sense of insecurity. This sense of insecurity further increases threats to national security. In order to avoid these dangers, we need arms control, not an arms race. Read the following passage and answer the following questions. Every nation should try to resolve international conflicts peacefully and by means of negotiations. For that, the dialogue and exchange between nations should increase. The more the interdependence between nations, more will peace and security be strengthened. Because of this, different platforms and mediums will be available for discussions and negotiations for the purpose of increasing international cooperation. Nations will try to avoid wars out of fear of economic losses. 1. What message do you get from the above?
I hope you all have read this passage. Okay, so every nation will try to resolve the international because we also try to negotiate with the neighboring countries like Pakistan or China. We have our own disputes. That is, we try to bring in peace and security. So based on this paragraph, we have some few questions is asked. Just try to answer. What message do you get from this paragraph? Anybody? What message do you get from this?
Message.
Yes? What message do you get from this passage? Yes? Bhargavi?
We should live peacefully.
We should live peacefully and try to solve the disputes through negotiation. Okay, let's try what is there. Next.
2. How will the dialogue between nations increase? 3. What is the relationship between economic losses and war? India's security system. India's security system includes the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. The three forces that defend the country. The responsibility of protecting the geographical boundaries is on the Army, whereas the Navy protects the coastline. The Air Force is in charge of protecting India's airspace.
Now see, India's defense system consists of
Army.
Army, Air Force. Okay. Army is the one which protects
Coastline.
border. Okay. Then the Navy protects the coast. Okay. And then Air Force? Airspace. Okay. You are very good.
The Ministry of Defense controls all the three forces. The Indian Army is very big. It is
Who controls all the three forces?
President.
Of course, President. There is a different ministry for all these forces, that is Defense Ministry is there, and the head of all these three is a President. Okay. President is the commander-in-chief of all the three forces. And India's army is the largest, that is 7th largest in the world.
is the world's 7th largest. Its chief is known as the General. The Chief of Navy is known as the Admiral, while the Chief of the Air Force is known as Air Chief Marshal.
So, Chief of the Army is known as? Chief of the Navy is known as? Chief of the Air Force is known as? Okay, very good. And remember this. Why? Because for either for objectives or either for match the pair. Okay. So for objective purpose, remember these things without, as I was forgetting these things. Okay. Next.
Sure. These three chiefs are appointed by the president.
So these chief of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force is appointed by whom?
The Army, the Navy, the Air Force. Find out so as to understand more what is a military regime. Does democracy exist in such regimes? The President of India.
If it's a military rule, okay. Supposing if it's a military dictatorship, military is controlling, will democracy be there? Will democracy will be there peacefully? Because everything will be controlled. You will lose all your fundamental rights. Okay. You will be more, that is your haircuts also will be limited, like how North Korea, they have their own, that is limited hairstyle only. How many hairstyles they are? Okay, 6. Only 6 hairstyle, and you all come with long hair. Okay, you have your own choice of your own hairstyle, isn't it? But over there, when it is a military rule or dictatorship, over there you cannot enjoy this basic fundamental rights. You don't have your own choice.
Is the supreme commander of the defense forces. The defense forces cannot take any decisions about war or peace without the consent of the president.
Now, supposing Pakistan is trying to enter into the border of India. Now there is a threat. Suddenly, the army people cannot declare war against Pakistan. Why? Because it has to consult the president. Okay. Without the consent of president, either the chief of the army, either the chief of the navy, or the chief of the air force cannot declare war against the Pakistan. Okay, so it has without the consent of the president, it cannot declare war against the neighboring countries. Next, let's start.
Because the letter represents the civil power. In a democracy, civil leadership is considered superior to military leadership. Many measures are taken so that all three defense forces in India's security systems are adequately modernized. For this, some research institutions have been set up. Many training institutes have also been set up in our country.
You all have already planned what you will be doing in your future. Okay, some have already decided that you want to be an engineer. Okay, you want to be a doctor. Already you all have planned, but many are even interested to join either army, navy, or air force. So if you want to be joining, or if you are wishing for joining army, navy, and air force, there are different training centers in India, and one of the famous institutes, that is National Defense Academy in Pune, which is very near for us. Okay, so if you are interested in that, and there are exams being conducted for that. Of course, it's a very tough competitions are there. If you want to join it, you have to join this academy. Yes. Any queries till now?
Defense forces so that they can perform their task competently. For example, the National Defense Academy (NDA) at Pune and the National Defense College (NDC).
NDA is at Pune. NDC is at Pune. pronounced? They have pronounced it wrongly. It is paramilitary forces. Okay. Paramilitary forces are, it is actually neither completely the civil forces nor the military forces. Okay. And so, this paramilitary forces helps the defense forces whenever it is in need, or whenever any of the state is in need of extra forces. This paramilitary forces again try to help us in any, whether it is a natural calamity, if any border dispute is there. In that time, this or any communal riots take place, these paramilitary forces are ready to help out the citizens to bring normalcy to the citizens.
Forces to help the defense forces in India. They are neither completely military forces nor completely civil forces. Hence, they are called parliamentary forces. Their main task is to help the defense forces, the border security force, Coast Guard,
Border Security Force, that is BSF. Border Security Force will guard or protect what? Borders of the country. Coast Guard will protect the
Coastline.
okay, coastal areas.
Central Reserve Police Force,
Central Reserve Police Force is also known as
CRPF.
CRPF Jawans. Okay, so the CRPF Jawans also try to protect again the citizens of India, and whenever any problems arises within different states also, it tries to help out the citizens. Let's try to understand.
Rapid Action Force are some of the parliamentary forces. The parliamentary forces are responsible for the security of important locations like railway stations, oil depots, water reserves, etc. Similarly, they play a role in the management of disasters, whether natural or man-made. The responsibility of protecting the country's international borders during peacetime also rests with the parliamentary forces.
Now, it's not necessary that during the wartime only this paramilitary forces will go. Even during when the country is in peacetime, even during Ganesh festival, this paramilitary forces will try to come and try to bring in peace, because especially in Ganesh festival time, a lot of people visit such a particular area. It might be crowded, or during natural calamities also, this paramilitary forces will try to protect the citizens to bring in normalcy in that particular area. So the remaining part of this particular paramilitary forces, and what all changes have been brought in the Indian security system, we will do it tomorrow. Before that, please try to answer few of the questions which is asked over here. Will you be able to answer?
Yes.
First question, you tell me, which is the chief of the army is called as what?
General.
Okay, fine. Okay. So let's try to do this. This is like fill in the blanks over here. Let's try to answer. The dash of India is the commander-in-chief of all the defense forces.
Defense Minister.
Okay. The dash President. Yes, very correct. President is the commander-in-chief of all the defense forces. It should be C over here. Okay, next. The dash has the responsibility of protecting the coastline. Coast Guard. Very correct. Okay, good. Next is the dash has been established with the purpose of instilling among the students the love of discipline and military training.
NCC.
Okay, very correct. The next question is following statements are false. It is necessary to end terrorism to ensure human security. Fine. So, the remaining part of it, we will try to cover up tomorrow. Okay? So, have a good day, children.
Thank you.